Hi, hello. It is currently 12:30 and I have slept for most of the day so far. I have not been feeling well, so to be fair, rest is probably what I needed, and it's a good thing that I've slept away half the day. But now that I'm up, I feel like I cannot sit another second in my bedroom and I need to go somewhere, so I think I might try to go to the library and see how I'm feeling, possibly go to a cafe and get some editing done there. So I want to do that today. I also want to journal because I have decided to start getting back into journaling, but I kind of want to focus it around my writing, which means that for this week at least, I'm basically going to focus on trying to use prompts with my journal entries each day that have to do with characters. And then I'd like to get through probably 3 chapters or so, which will be minimum 3,000 words today, I think. I just want to keep the momentum that I worked up to starting end of last week when I had that 10,000 word day for editing. I don't think I'll get 10,000 words again edited in a day, but I can get a few thousand per day fairly easily just with the way the editing is going. So that's the plan. I'm gonna do a bit of makeup and get myself feeling a little bit better, and then we're gonna head out to a cafe. It is currently Thursday, March 7th. I spent most of this week wildly sick. It was the sickest that I have been in years, and I think I generally don't get that kind of sick. I'm still sick, you can kind of hear it. I think I'm actually still waiting to hear back from the doctor, but I think it's a really, really bad case of tonsillitis. I don't think it's strep throat, and neither did the doctor, and I feel like the symptoms aren't right for strep throat, but they are definitely right for a really, really bad case of tonsillitis. And I have basically felt just horrific until this morning. I felt a little bit better this morning, so I canceled my work meetings earlier in the week, but I do have a work meeting in 10 minutes. And after I finish my work meeting, I need to do a bit more website work. I've been working on my own personal author website, and then I've also been working on updating my portfolio. Fun fact, I develop websites. I design as well as do custom development if that's something that you want. Feel free to shoot me an email if you need a website, because I will be opening up for more clients, for more personal clients. I need to do a bit of work on that after my meeting, and then I'm just going to keep writing. I have a goal to hit 30,000 words edited by the end of the week, which I think should actually be fairly easy because I'm over 25,000. I will say, as far as this draft and editing this draft goes so far, the reason that it's going so quickly right now is because I'm basically just rereading everything right now and making the minor changes that need to be made. So I'm making some consistency updates based on the changed backstory. I'm removing a character. I'm making some kind of character development and character depth changes as I go. But for the most part, I'm kind of just reading through and then making changes to each paragraph just so that the story aligns with the adjusted plot a bit better. So that's why it's going so quickly, is because I've written half scenes here and there. I've rewritten scenes, but I haven't added any of the big, fully brand new, newly drafted scenes yet. So that's why it's going so quickly. That's why it seems like it's going just wildly fast compared to other times that I've done this process. But it will slow down. I imagine that by the time I get to the 50K mark or so, it's going to slow down quite a bit, because that's where a lot of things are going to be changing and a lot of new things are going to be added. It is 3:37 on Friday, March the 8th. I feel like I can still hear my voice, but I also feel like it's so much better. Anyways, I've done some editing today. I've done about 2,300 words. It's kind of tough, to be honest, because I am flying through the words, but then I'll get to points in the story when, for example, the chapter that I'm working on right now, which is like 4,500 words, completely unnecessary, probably closer to 5,000 words. This chapter is like so much longer than how long my chapters normally are. This chapter happens earlier in the story. Like, it is technically at the beginning of Act 2, but based on some feedback from the editor that I worked with, and I've kind of been doing some rearranging, as we know, this part is now going to be made at the midpoint, which I think makes sense. I think it'll be strongest if this is the midpoint, to be honest. So I'm like loosely editing this chapter. Basically right now I'm just going through and I am removing mention of the character that I need to get rid of. I'm doing some kind of like character adjustments and a little bit of world building adjustment, but I'm not going into too much detail as far as edits go because this entire chapter is going to be moved later on in the book. And I'll have to rewrite it for context anyways. I also think, because I've kind of mentioned, I've like spoken about what my plan is for this draft, but the plan is also very fluid, just because I know that there are things that I'm going to want to change that I don't necessarily need to change yet. There's a lot that I'm keeping track of. This is also the first reread that I've had in multiple months of this manuscript, but I still think that I'm going to pretty much like fly through the first like 70,000 words, which is what I already had written. I'm rereading it once and editing the basic edits as I go. But at the end of the day, it's like a very overarching edit. Like, it's not super in depth right now. As I go through this edit, I'm kind of getting a better feel for what the next steps are going to be. And now it's looking like once I finish the edit of this first 73,000 words, I think is what I have now. Once I finish the basic edit on the words that are already written right now, then I'm going to jump back in, and I've also been keeping notes of like what needs to move, what else needs to be adjusted as far as like structure goes. So then I'm going to jump in and I'm going to do more of a structural edit. Like, I am going to rearrange the entire manuscript. I'm going to move the scenes that need to be moved. I'm going to add in the new scenes that need to be added, and I'm going to finish removing anything that doesn't need to be there. So I also kind of wanted to point out that right now it looks like I'm flying through this. Like, I'm at 28,725 words out of, there's around 73,000 in the manuscript right now, which is kind of fluctuating as I like add and remove. And I know that seems like a lot considering I jumped into this a week ago, but I think that like this draft is going to be 50% editing words that are already there, which is what I'm working on right now. And then the other 50% is going to be like the other 50% of the work that I'm putting into this draft is going to be me rearranging, rewriting scenes so that they fit better in the context and in their new places, and also like adding new scenes. So I know word count doesn't really matter, but like I kind of just wanted to mention that that's why it's going to look like my word count is like flying up. But then when I get around the 70k mark, the amount of words that I get through per day is going to seriously drop off, because I'm going to write 10 to 20,000 new words worth of scenes. And that's going to take a lot longer than just editing. But I'm going to go for a walk now. I'm going to finish listening to Iron Flame. Yes, I read Fourth Wing, and I'm listening to the audiobook for Iron Flame, and I'm like 2 hours away from being finished it, and I really just want to finish it at this point because some of the characters are kind of annoying me at this point. It's just because there are certain, I don't know. I mean, if you've read the series, you probably know what I'm talking about, but it's kind of like some things are feeling repetitive at this point. I'm ready to finish the audiobook because I also started We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal. I think I pronounced that correctly, which I've been waiting to start, and I kind of just like don't want to be listening to an audiobook and also reading at the same time. So we're going to go for our walk, listen to Iron Flame, come back, and maybe we'll try and hit 30k today. How far away are we? Oh yeah, we'll hit 30k today. Because considering the next scene that I'm editing is 3,600 words, is that what I said? So we will be well above 30k as long as we actually do it.
It's like wind in our sails. Hold on tight. I can smell the shore. It's right in front of us.
I've passed 30,000. To be fair, like when I went and added that last, this isn't even the whole chapter, this is just the scene, was 3,762 words. So the whole chapter itself was close to 5,000 words. So I'm not even surprised that I hit 30K, because also that chapter is, so this is the one that's going to become the midpoint. So some things still will shift in it, but I did make some small edits. And I actually really like the way it's written. I think the character dynamics work really well. I think you can, I guess it would be considered like the writer's voice, like my voice. I feel like that's coming through. I feel like there's humor, it's like endearing, but there's also undertones of like the other plot lines that are going on. Everything that happens in the scene serves some sort of purpose, and I feel like it does it well. It's really nice to write a scene like that, because sometimes, well, 80% of the time I don't like the scenes that I've written. But every once in a while there's a scene like that that I actually really, really enjoy. And that scene is one that I was totally in the flow when I wrote that scene, which I just think is such a cool, magical thing about writing stories, is that like I can tell you which scenes I was like in the flow because of how they're written. I'm feeling good. I feel like when you write your first draft, you read through it and it's very overwhelming and you just have no idea what you're gonna do with it. And you just kind of panic a little bit. And then as you get to the later drafts and also get feedback from other people, if that's what you choose to do, it like gets to the point where most of it is flow. Like you're reading through the draft and you're seeing, you know, you read 3,000 words and you know that almost every single one of them probably needs to change. But when you've been working on it long enough, or when you've been like thinking about it long enough, little things click into place, and then it's not as overwhelming anymore, because even though you know the whole thing needs to change, all of a sudden you can see how it's going to change, and you can see what pieces need to fall into place now. And it becomes so much less overwhelming, for me at least. Like I still know it's, you know, so much work that I'm gonna have to put into it, but I know what the work is now. That's just so much easier to handle than reading a manuscript and having no idea where to go next. I've also edited 6,000 words today, so maybe we'll aim for another 10K day, because less than 4,000 words to go, and I'm feeling good. So it's about 7:30. I'm gonna go cook some dinner, and then I'm probably just gonna come back to my room and spend the rest of the night with my characters.
Every dawn, we are dreamers of the shore. 7 years now on this boat, and we all know where we belong. Just wait. Wait for our home to show on the horizon. Soon we'll be there.
Okay, it's 2 p.m. I have written not written, I've not written, edited 43,013 words, which means that I passed the goal that I set on the NaNoWriMo word count tracker, which was 40,000 for the month. I'll be honest, it's been like, I did a couple rounds of editing on Blood of Amberum a few years ago, but like I haven't done editing to that degree on like the same story since then. So I kind of forgot how quickly you can get through editing as long as you like actually separate the editing into kind of manageable pieces, which is what I'm trying to do. That's why even though like I'm tweaking quite a bit, I'm not really tweaking nearly as much as I could be, because I want to kind of like do it in layers. Like I want to build on top of each draft and each editing cycle. So like I mentioned, this is kind of like the first pass of this draft 3, where I'm rereading the story, I'm familiarizing myself with the plot and the characters again, I'm adjusting the plot and the characters based on the changes, and again, I'm removing a character. And somewhere at the beginning of this process, I kind of like decided that that's all I was going to do for the first pass, and then I was going to do a second pass, still considering it draft 3, where I actually went and added the new scenes that I have. So yeah, currently at 43,000 words. We're over halfway through the words that have already been written, so I'm gonna get to around 70,000, so another 30,000 words or so of editing, and then I'll be ready to go back to the beginning, review all of the scenes that I've kind of put together, and then I'll be able to dive back in and add in those scenes and kind of like restructure the rest of it. I've also been re-listening to one of Brandon Sanderson's lectures on characters, just because, again, something that I need to work on, so I'm kind of like slowly absorbing information and like re-watching old lectures and classes and stuff that I still have access to. I've also gone through and kind of like, I'm compiling a list of fiction writing contests to submit to. As of right now, I'm kind of just looking at contests, but I'm also going to put together a list of like, I guess, magazines or like literary sites and stuff that I would like to submit short stories to. I just feel like that's something kind of fun that I haven't really considered doing in a long time, and I think it would be really cool to have like some smaller goals of working on smaller pieces of fiction while also working on my longer pieces of fiction. So I'm also putting those together, and I'll leave all of the ones that I've found so far linked in the description box in case you want to check them out and also apply or submit. So yeah, I have to pop out and run some errands, and then I'm gonna come back and keep writing this whole day, besides tonight because we're gonna go see Dune Part 2, but this whole day is pretty much dedicated to writing stuff. And again, I couldn't be happier about it. So